This video is for the women and the girls that know that they are meant for something more. And you have probably felt it since you were a child. But for some reason, there's still something holding you back. And even if you're already embarking on what it is that you want to do, you are still playing too small. You're still only giving 10% of your authenticity, 10% of all that you are. And in many areas, without even noticing, you're trying to keep yourself smaller, more digestible, and you try to make yourself more understandable because you're afraid of not making sense. And maybe you do all of that without even noticing that you're doing it and without even knowing why. Because the root goes so much deeper than we think it does. You've just not stepped into your full power yet. Why is that? Maybe it's the fear of people judging you, maybe it's the fear of being canceled, maybe it's the fear of failure, or maybe it's something entirely different. Maybe it's your nervous system. Even though you rationally know that all of these things literally do not matter, your nervous system didn't get the memo. Your nervous system still remembers transgenerational trauma. Your nervous system is still afraid of being punished for speaking out. And yes, that sounds really dramatic, and yes, that sounds really silly, but tell that to the women, all the women that came before us, all the women in your lineage that were actually burned just for having an opinion. The women before you that were actually kept to be as small and obedient as possible, just so they wouldn't disrupt. And transgenerational trauma exists. Our nervous system remembers how things used to be. Often we can analyze our brains and our minds and our limiting beliefs all that we want, but we won't find success until we actually go way further back. Because yes, even though society has evolved and we have all the opportunities now, a part of us remains afraid. A part of us remains silent. A part of us remains digestible. A part of us only wants to put out 10% of us in fear of being too much. So yes, even if you already do what it is that you want to do, even if you already speak your mind, even if you already put yourself out there, is it all that you've got? Between 50,000 to 100,000 women were being executed as witches over the span of 300 years in Europe, and it is still going on in some countries. Many of those women were healers, herbalists, widows, teachers, but most importantly, they were wise women who spoke their truth. They had opinions and they possessed knowledge, and they used it until speaking out for women was seen as a betrayal of their role. Women were institutionalized for talking too much, writing too much, or generally being too much. Speaking your mind as a woman was often back then seen as insanity. We as women are deeply connected to other women. We see it all around us. We are connected to the women in our lives, the women in our society, and we carry those memories within us, even from the women that have passed. Yes, it is actually that deep. We hold these centuries of oppression deeply in our bones, even if we don't live in those constraints anymore. Women who talked back, expressed their opinions, or were just too much were actually punished with a metal contraption called a skull bridle. It was a mask placed over your head with a metal tongue press to stop women from speaking out. And women were paraded through town wearing it as a punishment. We hear about those things, right? We hear about how women have been oppressed for centuries, but we often don't even know to which extent. Our mind doesn't know, but our bodies remember, because it is very likely and probably the case that the women in your lineage were forced to keep small. They were mocked, laughed at, or worse, even punished for having opinions, for speaking out, for existing in public as their authentic selves. In the 17th century, writing novels was so scandalous that many published under male names just to be taken seriously. Your voice, your words, your mind were a threat. In many places in this world, women are still being punished for writing, for singing, for going public places, for studying, for driving a car, or speaking their mind. This is still happening. Yes, not everywhere, and we've come a long way, but it is still happening. Trauma, including the kind that our female ancestors experienced, which includes the loss of freedom, forced silence, or execution for speaking, that leaves epigenetic markers in our DNA. That means that when you feel discomfort or fear when it comes to you putting yourself out there, speaking your truth, sharing what is in your heart, the fear that you feel that you might get canceled, fear of people from your past judging you, the fear you feel of presenting yourself online or finally doing what it is that you want to do, the fear of fully being authentically yourself no matter what others think, it is not even your trauma. When you put yourself out there, when you speak up, your body might tell you it is not safe. But it is. And every time you do it, despite the fear, you heal an entire bloodline. If you can't do it for yourself, you can do it for all the women that came before you. All the women that were punished for what it is that you can now freely do. When we look at it from a spiritual side, I don't think it's a coincidence that so many spiritual people, so many women into herbalism, spirituality, mindfulness, healing, whatever it is, that they have come to this planet now or in the past few years, and that we are now awakening to our gifts. We would have been punished for this. We would have been punished for talking about the things that we talk about now, no matter what it is that you want to talk about, no matter what it is that interests you, no matter how you want to put yourself out there, no matter the medium. It doesn't matter what it is that you want to do, but you have held yourself back. Every time that you speak into a mic, every time you write a sentence, no matter if it's a book, if it's a post, if you're talking into a camera, if you're speaking in front of people, if you're speaking your mind in front of your friends or your family, when you share your life and yourself authentically, your life and the opportunities that you have to put yourself out there and to speak your mind is the wildest dream of a woman before you who never even had the chance to say her name out loud. Women before you in history, but also in your lineage, they are living through you for your wildest, grandest, most out there dreams. Something is healed in this world by your bold authenticity. And bold authenticity doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be aggressive. It doesn't have to look like someone else's bold authenticity. Bold authenticity means that you owe it to yourself to be yourself. You owe it to yourself to speak out and to follow your highest joy. You owe it to the women before you to step into your highest joy because they couldn't. Speaking your mind with love and peace is bold. The world needs you to be bold. No matter if your bold is gentle, no matter if your bold is loud, no matter if your being bold is simply being vulnerable, speaking up in the field around you, or if your bold actually means putting yourself out there in front of the masses. If your bold is opening up a YouTube channel or a podcast, writing a book, hosting an event, doing a public speech, becoming the leader of a community, applying for that job that you think you're not qualified for, or starting that business that might not make sense, or finally starting that personal brand or posting online. It does not matter, it can be big or small. It can be in any area of your life. But you are being called to be bold. And being bold is being authentic. It means being unabashedly yourself, because that's what you came here to do. It is time that you step into your power now.